Joining me now is Mark Dubowitz. He's the chief executive for the Foundation for Defense of Democracies and recently spent 14 months on the ground in Israel working on America-Israel security issues. Thanks very much for taking the time. Appreciate it. All right, so why is Hamas, do you think, pushing so hard for these delays?
So, Dan, I think there are three major reasons. The first is financial extortion. The other is psychological political warfare. And the third you alluded to, which is having the time to fortify their position before an Israeli ground offensive. On financial extortion, we know that Iran and Qatar are major funders of Hamas. Hamas actually promised its terrorists $10 million in a free apartment for every hostage they took. And it would not surprise me if Qatar is involved in providing ransom payments to Hamas to get hostages back. So there's a financial incentive. There's psychological warfare. I mean, what they're trying to do is not only try to split the Israelis from the Americans and other countries who are very concerned about their foreign nationals, but this is also excruciatingly painful for Israelis. And it's a form of psychological warfare against Israel to try to undermine the spirit of Israelis and get people second-guessing whether it makes sense to go into Gaza given the large number of Israelis and foreign nationals that are being held. And then, as you said, this is an opportunity for Hamas to actually plan, move fighters, move weapons through its terror tunnels, lay IEDs, the same kind of Iranian-provided IEDs that were used to kill hundreds of Americans and maim thousands in Iraq. So there's a lot of good reasons why Hamas wants to play this game.
I want to read you something from the Times of Israel on the political climate in Israel. I want to ask you if you agree that Netanyahu's government, which depends on far-right ministers, have been given broad authority over West Bank matters, and the police has fiercely opposed any gestures they view as capitulating to the Palestinians. There is absolutely no chance that the current government would agree to the release of Palestinian prisoners, says Gail Talshir, a political scientist at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. Do you agree with that?
I do agree with that. And I think not just for this current coalition, but for any Israeli government in this position right now. I mean, right now, the central military objective of the Israeli Defense Forces is to go in and to impose severe costs to destroy Hamas's terror infrastructure and to restore some sense of normalcy to the Israeli people, and particularly move those Israeli civilians back into these southern towns that have been so devastated. So the notion of trading away, again, thousands of prisoners to get hostages back in exchange for stalling, delaying, or not moving ahead on any kind of offensive, I think would be very difficult for any Israeli government now.
Yeah. Mark Dubowitz, thank you so much for coming on the show. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan.